Coming from the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark's collegiate performance was just legendary. She broke records and, across men's and women's divisions, became the all-time top scorer in NCAA history. Deep three-pointers and explosive playmaking defined her spectacular performances, which won her thousands of loyal fans and the respect of basketball players all around. There was obvious expectation as Clark jumped to the WNBA. Originally selected first overall by the Indiana Fever, she was praised as a transforming talent who might improve the league's reputation and enthrall a fresh round of fans. The Fever's season ticket sales surged, and the WNBA as a whole had a notable increase in viewership and media coverage as the Caitlin Clark effect was fully active. But moving up to the professional level has not been without difficulties. Clark's approach, which combines flair with confidence, has attracted praise as well as criticism. Her aggressive approach and love of long-range shooting have some calling her a showboat, asking whether her style is really appropriate for the WNBA's roughness and defensive intensity.
She hasn't shot the ball well. Scrambled. Tied up. Sheldon. Clark.
During the break to see if it should be upgraded, but they said not enough to warrant that.
Collision with Caitlin Clark. You see it right there. Personnel crowds around her. She ended up being okay. She said she was fine. She just got the wind knocked out of her a little bit. She did.
It's a shooting foul underneath or something against Clark, which they may now. It's a shooting foul underneath or something against Clark, which they may now.
Way to catch that. That's some good lip reading right there.
And Tori Osmond just pointed over at Ashley. If McDaniel got elbowed and if that goes to a flagrant foul, which would completely change this game.
Wow, yes, so we do have an intentional foul on number 22, Caitlin Clark.
Two snakes right there in her attempt to attack the basket. And now to the officials, because of the physicality on the other side, I believe, a little upset. See Gabby Marshall attacked. And Clark is upset. She gets teed up.
Called. If it's Sonano, it is her fourth. And it is number 4 for Iowa.
Oh, on that. And Carson, because she was 4 of 25 from 3 in March.
Wow, a foul just called.
What an outlandish player to watch, Caitlin Clark.
She drives in, misses though that time. She just got teed up for, I think she was actually yelling.
Expletive, you know, we're not going to say it, but...
The way the media presents Clark's on-court behavior has magnified the scrutiny of it. Charges of dirty tricks and unsportsmanlike behavior has emerged. Detractors contend that her competitive temperament occasionally crosses the line. This story has spurred debates on the double standards female athletes often encounter, whereby assertiveness is sometimes seen unfavorably, while in contrast to the praised aggressiveness of their male counterparts. Further complicating Clark's narrative is her continuous conflict with fellow star Angel Reese. With fans and experts regularly putting these two young stars against each other, the different approaches and personalities of these two have driven great media interest. Although this competitiveness could improve both players' profiles, it also puts more pressure on Clark to perform consistently and carefully negotiate public opinion. Clark's personal life off the court is also under close inspection. Her friendship with fellow athlete Connor McCaffrey has come under fire. Some claim that her affiliation with McCaffrey could damage her and her brand. Being a public persona, Clark's behavior and those of her close acquaintances may greatly affect her marketability and reputation. Moreover, the way the media presents Clark sometimes highlights her ethnicity and gender, therefore distorting the story about her career. Her success, according to some analysts, stem from her being a white athlete in a primarily black sport, which begs issues regarding the junction of race, gender, and privilege in women's basketball. This viewpoint can affect how analysts and supporters see her actions and successes, therefore adding still another degree of complexity to her public image. On the court, Clark has been displaying her extraordinary ability under great scrutiny. Her rookie average of over 17 points and 5 assists each game makes for statistically remarkable performances. Her team, the Indiana Fever, has struggled to achieve success, though, which fuels more criticism and questions over Clark's influence on the team's general performance. The weight of expectations and the continual comparison to her peers, especially Angel Reese, has put tremendous strain on Clark's debut season. Critics contend that trying to live up to the expectations could cause burnout or impede her player growth. Though the WNBA is a different animal than college basketball, the change can be difficult even for the most gifted athletes. The issue of Caitlin Clark's longevity and success in the WNBA looms big as she travels on her path there. Professional basketball's physical demands as well as the heavy media scrutiny provide major obstacles that may either make or kill her career. Particularly, injuries are a big worry since her high-energy playing approach can cause her to be physically vulnerable. Should Clark sustain major injuries, it could throw off her career before it even starts, therefore adding still another degree of uncertainty to her future. Beyond on-court performance, Clark's capacity to negotiate off-court demands will be vital. Her rivals Angel Reese in particular and the media's propensity to compare her to other stars have fostered a competitive environment that can be both positive and negative. Constant comparisons could cause extra strain and scrutiny, therefore compromising Clark's confidence and performance. For a rookie attempting to define her individuality in the league specifically, the weight of these comparisons may be stifling. Being a white female athlete in a largely black sport, Clark's WNBA presence begs difficult issues regarding privilege, gender, and color. Some detractors argue that these dynamics can affect her popularity and imply that her success could be seen as the result of her race rather than her talent. This point of view throws off her story and begs questions about the validity of her successes. Should Clark's marketability be contingent on elements unrelated to her performance, her reputation as a player and the larger advancement of women's sports may suffer. The way the media covers Caitlin Clark has changed with time to mirror the changing narratives about her career. The coverage was first mostly favorable, honoring her as a WNBA transforming agent. But the tone changed as the season went on, with more criticism focused on her off-court contacts, on-court behavior, and general performance. This change in coverage of women's sports reflects the complicated dynamics at work in them. The first wave of good coverage focused on Clark's ability to raise the WNBA's brand and attract fresh players, but the story grew more complex when professional basketball reality set in. Critics pointed out Clark's challenges to keep consistency, and analysts started wondering whether she could modify her game to fit the demands of the WNBA. Still, other media personalities came to Clark's rescue, stressing her ability and promise among the criticism. They noted that many rookies find the WNBA to be challenging and that her early hardships shouldn't define her success. This defensive story aimed to strike a mix between the critical scrutiny and acknowledgement of her special talents and the demands of professional sports. The way the media covers Clark has also spurred more general discussions about diversity and inclusion in women's sports. Her stories got intertwined with debates on her color and gender, which forces analysts to consider the ramifications of her accomplishments for other league players. This changing coverage emphasizes the need of constant communication regarding racial, gender, and identity in sports since it reflects their complicated dynamics. It is impossible to overestimate Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA and the larger scene of women's basketball as she keeps negotiating the demands of her debut season. She is already history since she is the first rookie to reach a triple-double and has unquestionably the ability to change the game. The road ahead is not without challenges though, so her long-term success depends critically on her capacity to adapt, perform consistently, and manage the great scrutiny. With rising viewership, fan involvement, and financial security for the WNBA, the Caitlin Clark effect has already clearly affected the league. Her marketability and popularity could open doors for women's sports, draw more funding, media coverage, and chances for the following generation of players. Still, the difficulties Clark encounters are not particular to her alone. She stands for a new generation of female athletes, stretching the limits in women's sports. Her scrutiny and criticism reflects the larger society prejudices and double standards female athletes sometimes face. While negotiating the challenges of her debut season, Clark is not only representing her own achievement, but also the WNBA's future and women's sports empowerment. She wants to become a pillar of the league and an inspiration to young athletes all around. Hence, she will need to be able to rise above the clamor and concentrate on her game. The Caitlin Clark effect might have applications much beyond the basketball floor. Her narrative has the ability to subvert preconceptions, destroy stereotypes, and open the path for more sportsmen and inclusion worldwide. By embracing her own identity and skills, Clark may become a symbol of the transforming power of women's basketball, motivating a fresh generation of fans and players to dream big and challenge the constraints placed on them. Players like Caitlin Clark will be absolutely vital as the WNBA expands and changes. Her capacity to enthrall viewers, boost attendance, and draw fresh fans can have a long-lasting effect on the league's general visibility and financial health. Increased investment, improved resources, and more chances for female athletes can then follow from this, therefore enhancing the sport overall. Outside the court, Clark's narrative might motivate more general social transformation. She can help to create a more fair and inclusive future by questioning the prejudices and ideas that sometimes limit the possibilities for women in sports. Her achievement can be a potent reminder that women deserve the same platforms, resources, and respect as their male colleagues, and that skill, will, and passion know no gender restrictions.
But with Angel, she's rugged, right? She's a rugged girl. Right? She's built for trying to bully. She's a bullier, right? No one feels sorry for the bullier.
She's not a bully. She's not a bully.
Oh, you probably just never seen the poster. She's bullying the veterans.
She's not a bully. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
We'll be staring Caitlin Clark's direction when she travels in the WNBA. Her every action on and off the court will be watched and analyzed as the media and supporters try to grasp her whole influence. However, under this great scrutiny, Clark has the chance to reinterpret the story, break free from constraints placed on her, and motivate a fresh generation of athletes to aim higher. The Caitlin Clark effect is about the power of representation, the dismantling of obstacles, and the search of excellence in the face of hardship. Not only about basketball, Clark has the opportunity to create a lasting impression on the sports world as she writes her narrative, motivating change, increasing inclusivity, and clearing the path for a time when women's basketball will be valued and cherished with the same zeal as men's games. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's path is evidence of the will, skill, and tenacity of female athletes. Her ascent to fame reminds us that women's sports has a bright future and that long-standing obstacles are gradually but definitely breaking down. Clark has the chance to rewrite the story, motivate a fresh generation, and create an enduring legacy that will reverberate across basketball history as she negotiates the hurdles and criticism of her debut season.